Yum, coffee, 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 coffee. I don't know about you, but I gave up coffee for 5 years. Huge mistake. I discovered that it was actually good for me health-wise. And so I started drinking it again, but I actually gave it up for 5 full years. Crazy, 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 crazy. Horne-Ellstrom here. Today in this episode, we're going to talk about the dreaded blank line days of the daily scare share. We're doing one thing a day that stretches our comfort zone from the book. Do one thing a day that scares you. It's a little journal type book that encourages us to step out of our comfort zone, to stretch it and grow it in a teeny tiny way every single day by looking at different things, different aspects of our life, things that we've never thought about before. It's actually more a change of perspective than it is hard, challenging things to do. But I look at it as a challenge. And today and tomorrow are those dreaded blank line days. Remember, I am a little bit like I see the blank lines. It usually gives me a phrase to trigger my thinking of. But early on, they used to really scare me because I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? What am I going to do to stretch my comfort zone every day? It's really easy when the book gives me a prompt and tells me what to do. And then I just take that and carry that throughout my day. But when they don't have anything, it's a little harder. But now I've gotten to the point where I have go-to strategies that I use whenever I get to a blank line day. So today it says, today's day 349, by the way. It says, when I looked up today, colon, and then blank lines. So when I looked up today, what the heck does that mean? I have no idea what it means, but I do know that from my walks in the park, I used to notice that when I was watching my feet all the time, so I wouldn't trip and fall on a rock or a stump or a tree trunk or something, because I've been known to do that and sprain my ankle and be laid up for a couple of weeks. Actually, the last time I was laid up for a couple of weeks, I slid on a little bit of mud going down a little tiny incline on a path in the middle of a totally clear path. So I can't even blame the rocks and the tree trunks, but I have slipped on a slippery rock in the fall and sprained my ankle once too. So although it's one of my favorite places in the whole wide world, I guess it does beat me up every once in a while to remind me to pay attention to what I'm doing, where I'm going, and to my footing. Make sure I've got a sure footing when I take each step versus just flopping down the paths. That is about looking down. Now, what I realized is that when I'm walking in the park and I'm looking down, I'm missing everything around me. But when I'm walking in the park and I'm looking up, I see everything and I have a much better experience of the park. And sometimes that works in my life just in other ways. If I catch myself looking down, I'm all crouched and I'm kind of glum. All I have to do is look up and I realize there's so much more to life and the situation and what's going on that I'm not letting myself see because I'm in this little ball of whatever emotion that I happen to be feeling. So when I looked up today, I wrote down, here's what I wrote down, and then I'm going to tell you what I did look up. I wrote, I see the light. When I look up in the sky, whether it's night or day, I see light. I see stars. I see the moon at night. Sometimes it's cloudy and it's hard to see. Same thing in our lives. Sometimes things are cloudy and it's hard to see through the clouds, but we know that on the other side of those clouds, the moon and the stars are always there shining. I remember the first time I took an airplane trip, and when you climb up through the cloud bank, it was a really cloudy day, and all of a sudden we burst through the clouds and it was sunny and brilliant and gorgeous. I mean, I actually had to pull the shade down in the airplane a little bit because it was blinding me. The light and the sunshine just above the clouds. And sometimes we have to remember that the sun is always shining just above the clouds, whether we can see it or not. The moon and the stars are always shining just above the clouds, whether we can see it or not. And if we just remind ourselves of that sometimes, it helps us to break through and take that 30,000-foot view of the situation that's bringing us down or that we're not being able to see through, and helps us to deal with that. So I like to think that there's always blue skies above the clouds, and that the clouds just represent an obstacle or a challenge that we're having, but that we can always break through those clouds if we just believe that we can. So today I looked up, since it said look up, I took it literally, and I looked up in a book called Manifest Your Desires. It's just one of these books that actually has a 365-day message every day. So I picked, since it's day 349 of our daily scare share, I picked page 349, and I'm just going to share that with you because that's another strategy I have. When it's a blank line day, instead of freezing and getting paralyzed and stressed out about it, I just find a resource that can trigger my thinking to help me stretch my comfort zone. So one of the books I love is Manifest Your Desires, because we all want to create what we want in our lives. So I just went to page 349, and this is what it has to say today. says. There is no condition that you cannot modify into something more, any more than there is a painting that you cannot repaint. There are many limiting thoughts in the human environment that can make it seem that these so-called incurable illnesses or unchangeable conditions cannot be changed. But we say that they are only unchangeable because you believe that they are. The clouds are only there blocking your way and being an obstacle because you believe that they are. You're forgetting that everything you want is right on the other side of that cloud bank. If you think of light as everything that you want. Everything you want. The sun is always shining on the other side of that cloud bank. So that kind of ties in with what I was thinking, which is always awesome. Now, what am I going to come up with tomorrow for the dreaded blank line days? Because you know the same thing is going to be when I looked up, I blank. So maybe I'll find something incredible today that I look up at that I can share tomorrow. Go out, make it a fantastic day. Realize stretching your comfort zone is entirely up to you. Creating what you want in your life is entirely up to you. And all you have to do is take one little step toward it every single day. But you got to know what you want first, and then just know that all you have to do is take a step toward it every day. One little step a day, and pretty soon you'll have absolutely everything that you want. That's it. Have a fantastic day. I'll be with you tomorrow. Don't be scared. You got this. Bye.